Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've just seen a mechanism by which we can export particular types of data from the databases that AnyLogic can record internally. It's a very powerful mechanism, but there are oft times with AnyLogic that we wish to maintain information in other structured forms. And one of the forms that we used in the midst of our week together was a form associated with what are called datasets. Datasets allow us to maintain pairs of information, X and Y coordinates, for example, as we used for a scatter plot on the very first day, I believe. Scatter plot that linked up time spent smoking on the one hand with age of death. But we also had a data set which was marked over time that we saw within the past day or so in our same model. And I'm going to therefore close the models that I have open and open up that data set, okay? And we're going to, that data set. We're going to open up that model that we have, that we built. So if anyone, I know I've tweaked it in some ways. I just want to make sure that if anyone seeks to enjoy the latest version of that model, I will go and add it now. Here we go. And I'm going to do upload here. Okay, and we'll go and go to models, and here we go. Version 18. Here we are. And it is finished uploading. Version 18, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go recall where we had a data set. And I'd like you to go to main, down main, and to the left of this map of the fair city of Sydney, you will note that there's an item here called fractional prevalence data set. Do you see that? See or not? Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay, sorry, I just did something bad. Okay, there we go. Okay, great. So, I would like to now, yes, okay, excellent. So I would like to show how we can export this data set for a single run of the model. We can export it to an Excel file, okay? What I'd like to do particular is to go drag in from the palette. This is an alternative to using a database. You can go over to there, and then you can drag in from the connectivity palette, which is down here. It looks like a database with a back and forth thing on it. Okay.
A little red arrow.
Little red arrow on it. I'd like you to drag in an Excel file. Okay. And this is going to be, okay. This is going to be output Excel file. Okay. Maybe we'll call it Excel file for output. Just to make it clear, it's not a command, it's something like that. Now, the deal here is that actually we do need to create an Excel file ahead of time to which to push it, okay? This is a case where it actually needs an Excel file created. And I need to go and get my Excel fired up here. Meanwhile, I'd like you folks to go create an Excel file, in your case, and put it in a known folder. I would suggest maybe putting it in your, a folder you can find really easily when you browse, okay? We'll see if we can place it there. Okay, so I actually conveniently have one. It's called Excel Output. I put it in my desktop here. Okay, and I'm going to change its name. Right now, it's called Excel Output.xls.xlsx. So I'm just going to change it to be .exceloutput.xlsx. Okay, this is an Excel file. We're going to need to create that from Excel. Okay. So I'd like to go into Excel and just save a file. You needn't put anything in it. Just save it to a known location. And then finally, I'd like you to close it. Okay? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to delete all this. Okay? And I'll delete here. Look, this is not doing apples with apples. So I'll just create a new one. Here we go. New Excel file. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to save it on my desktop. So this is going to be called Excel Output 2. Okay, Excel Output Sydney. How's that? Thing worthy of this city. Excel Output Sydney. Okay, I just saved it. Now I'm going to close it. I don't want it to be open when we write to it. Bad things might happen. Okay? Great. Okay, so I just created it. Are you folks creating yours?
I run behind because they didn't open on time. So
Okay.
I create the Excel file into main. Then
Yeah.
what is the next step?
Well, again, create the Excel file itself. You have to go into Excel and save empty sheet.
But do I open that Excel file or
Annie, could you help? Could you help here? Well, you have to save it. You have to create that new Excel file and close it. Yeah, and close it off. Yeah, and then you have to refer to it. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, next you need to do browse here. Okay, you have to browse. Right, and go find this file on your computer. So you'll do browse, and you'll go find the Excel file that you created. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to put mine in a folder which I'm familiar with. Here we go. And it's going to go in TMP. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I will in my thing here. I'm going to point it to TMP here. Okay, and I'm pointing it to that. Were you folks able to do that? To browse and point it to that empty Excel file? Okay. Okay. Now you'll notice it further gives us some information here, and that's fine here. We don't have to change anything, but I'm not sure we need to load it on model startup. Okay. So we have that Excel file there. Okay. Good. Okay. That's great. ladies and gentlemen, there's actually, yeah, that's fine. Okay, next what I'd like to do is to do the following, okay? I would like to go to main, and in main, you will find that there's a thing called agent actions that we haven't tapped, okay? And I'd like you to in agent actions for main, I would like you to find the one that says on destroy. Okay? On destroy. And I'd like you to do the following. I'd like you in on destroy to do Excel file for output dot, we're going to here output the entire data set here, okay? And here we go, okay, so, right. Okay, so output data, yeah, there we are. Dot write data set. Okay, and I'm going to, here it needs some information. You notice it's going to ask what data set to write. That will be this fractional prevalence data set. On what sheet to put it, and then based on what row and column to place it. Okay, so I'm going to say the data set that we're going to output is this fractional prevalence data set. Okay. The sheet on which we'll put it is sheet 1, and we will put it in, I will say without prejudice, row number 10, and then column number 2, just so we could see very clearly, okay? So you'll notice it's row and then column, okay? So sheet, so this is the data set, the sheet index, we'll do row 10, column 2, okay? And then we need a semicolon, because this is a command. We're saying do this, okay? Okay, why don't we save away this model? Let's build the model here.
Can I see to the right of the code again?
Sure, I'll put it up on the big screen. Yeah. Okay, you don't want to see that yet. There you go. Here, I'll make it. Yeah. This is the name of the Excel file. By the way, you notice we just did a chunk of work, right? We went and we added this Excel file object. We created an Excel file. We pointed it to that Excel file, and we went to this on destroy thing, and we're writing this code. That's a logical chunk. That's kind of a pattern for exporting data to an Excel file. Nowhere does that appear in the palette, but it'd be nice if it did. Okay, here's the Excel file. We're writing a data set. This is the data set that already existed. This is the sheet number. This is the row. This is the column. Are you ready to roll? You ready to run? I don't mean from the room. Okay. So here, pop 100, no behavioral counseling. Let's run that. Here we're going. We should make sure that this is running, 500 years, I think. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's accessing the database. Okay, it's gonna take, is there one that's no immigration? Yeah, here. I should have ran that one. Okay, okay, I'm continuing to run this. It's speeding up. Now it's We're cooking with gas, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. Time is passing. The years pass. Okay? Here we have individuals who exhibit high amounts of smoking. Okay, I'm going to stop this. And we just quit out of it, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go now open up that file that I had created earlier, okay? This Excel output Sydney file. I'm going to open it up. I closed that model, and here's the data. Do you see it? This is the data from the data set. Do you see that? It's on, may I draw your attention to the fact that this data is on sheet 1, row 10, second column. Okay? So here you can output quite readily. Now, I'm not going to have time to show it, but I would just note that you can also write to particular sheets within the model. Specific sheets can be written to, particular sheets, yes. Specific cells in particular sheets can be written to. You can write to particular items. In fact, let's do this, because I think let's just close this file. Okay, I think probably food is coming soon. Not yet. Okay, here we go. I closed that file, that Excel file. I'm going to go back here, and ladies and gentlemen, let's go to, where did we write to this file? On what?
Sheet 1.
Well, yeah, but where in the model did we go to write to it?
Agent actions.
It was in main. It was agent actions, in which agent action? On destroy. Remember that? Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's do the following. Let's further put a tiny bit more metadata here. Because generally speaking, ladies and gentlemen, outputting data by itself is risky. You want to output metadata. What were the assumptions of this run? What was the version number with this run? When did it run? What was the date with which you ran this? The parameter values that went into it, even things like random number seed, potentially. Now, we have a tool which outputs that automatically, created by one of my students with AnyLogic models. It automatically instruments the model to automatically output that. But I think this is a lot of what AnyLogic's trying to achieve with this latest reversion of AnyLogic associated with the scenario manager. Okay, thanks a ton. If it doesn't, thanks, Jeff. If it doesn't do it in this latest version, we'll distribute that more widely. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Excel file for output here. We're going to output a tiny bit of metadata here, just a tiny bit, okay? We're going to say set cell value, and the value that we're going to set is going to say fractional prevalence. And it's going to be placed in a sheet in a certain row in a certain column. So we're going to place it in sheet 1, row 9, column 2. We'll place it just above that. And we need a semicolon because we're saying a command. Do this thing. Are we okay with that? Good or not? Here, I'll put it up on the big screen. Are people seeing that okay? Good or not? Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's go run this now. Okay. We're going to run. Boom. I'm going to run this with no immigration, which is going to allow it to be a little bit quicker. I think I ran it with no immigration. Yeah. Okay, here we're going. Okay, now it's running lickety split. Okay, 10 years have passed, 12. Okay, I'm going to stop it now. Here we go. Stop the model. Boom. Quit. Okay, let's go now and peruse our file. Okay, here we go. And now it says fractional prevalence there. Okay, we wrote to a particular sheet and cell and row with a specific content for that cell. Okay, so this is a way we could fill in information on cells. I won't show it to you here, but there's a whole similar interface, similar at some level, for text files when we export to text files. Okay, so you may notice here that when you dragged in from the connectivity palette that Excel file, there's also a text file, and text files aren't quite as nice to use for export, but they can carry some information as well, and we can print things to them in a way that will generate a CSV file or what have you. Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, exporting data from AnyLogic. In terms of importing data, we already saw a way we could import data into databases in AnyLogic and use that to create a population. I'll just note that we can also readily read in files, or we can read in from Excel files, okay? And I'll point out that you can go and readily do this by reading in values from particular sheets. If there's high demand for doing this after the break, I could do so. It takes about 15 minutes probably to do a decent job with this, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. But the basic deal is I'll illustrate with the mechanisms we have here. So if you go again to main and you go to on destroy in main, this place where we're reading, where we're writing this out, I'll just point out that if you say Excel file for output and we say get cell numeric value, we can actually read values from cells in a spreadsheet, okay? We could say what's the sheet number, the row number, and the column number from which we wish to read the value. And we might do that, for example, ladies and gentlemen, we might read in that value for some of these, simulation experiments. So rather than specifying this value here, we might actually put in the experiment, in this experiment here, we might put in an Excel file object and do something like this. Excel file, Excel parameter file, something along these lines. Parameter file, and get cell numeric value and read the value of that parameter from this cell here, or from this cell of this spreadsheet, okay? What that would require us to do is to open up this and add in an Excel parameter file go in and add here, Excel parameter file, and point it to the appropriate file here. This can allow us to draw values for use here in ways that are useful in the sense that it could draw it from a database or it could draw it from an Excel file, and thereby run an experiment with parameters set in an Excel file rather than manually set them here. Okay, so then maybe in the Excel file that value comes from a cell that is itself calculated by a bunch of other cells, product of things and other cells, and this just reads it in and executes it accordingly. Okay, so that's a pattern that's quite useful. And okay, it says file is not specified. Let's do this again. Oh yeah, I need to specify the file. Okay, fine. I'll go point it to the same file. Here we go. Okay. There we go. And here we go. And now it's saying cannot. Oh, of course, its population size is an integer. So we could do get cell, and we could probably convert it over to an integer. Maybe there's get cell integer value. No, it's numeric value. Okay, so fine. We could probably go convert that to an int here. There we go. Let's try that. We don't need a semicolon after that. Yeah. Okay, now it's a happy camper. So here it would actually read it in from a file and use that as its population size, right? So this could be called pop. Instead of pop 10, this would now be called, pop from, okay, watch out, it will crash, from parameter file. Boom. Okay. Reads it in, sucks it in, and uses that for its population size assumption. Yeah, Anton.
You know how in Excel you can do named ranges? Can you refer to those named ranges in that bit of syntax there, or does it have to be cell address?
Yeah, I'm not aware. I found the
Just think it would be able to.
the capabilities of this pretty circumscribed. So as far as I know, you can't use named ranges for that. What you can do is use names for sheets. So you could say this is from the parameter sheet of this spreadsheet. Rather than saying one here, you can put a quoted thing that says like sheet. Okay? Yeah.
Just thinking of reducing avoidable errors.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a very good point, and I'm totally in sync with you. I agree that would be nice, but unfortunately it's limited. Okay.
That's based on some open source library.
I think that's right.
Yeah, Winchell can fill you up. I chatted with him about it. He knows all the details.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think there's some Excel by. Okay, food has arrived. Okay, we're going to break for 20 minutes. Thanks very much.